Digital Media.
Come on!
Broadcast Hippo Digital Media. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Cedar Point Podcast. We are doing this on February 27, 2022. It's a Sunday. It's the day after Winter Chill Out. We'll talk about that coming up in a couple minutes. We got a couple new contributors that we're excited about. So let's get right to it. Co-host Donnie P. Our regular contributors, Molly and Michael. We're missing Nicole today. She had some stuff to do. And we got a couple special guests in. We got Becky and Dave Chapman, who's he's like a VIP. Dave is a VIP. So let's welcome everyone to the show. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the happy place. This is where politics goes away. There's no war. There's no BS. There's no drama. This is the happy place. It is Cedar Point, and that's what we're talking about today. Now, I want to start by letting Dave and Becky kind of tell us a little bit about why they love Cedar Point and what they do. And Dave, tell us a little bit about your special thing over there that you do. Becky, we're gonna let you start with you. Becky, what do you love about Cedar Point? What makes you passionate about it?
I mean, we have a gem right in our backyard. You know, that's one of the things. It's accessible to us. I love the atmosphere. I love the people watching. That's very interesting. And back in my younger days, I think there was no roller coaster that I could not conquer, but you know, that's changed as, you know, the age has come. But
I think that's for all of us. Is like you get off the coaster now and you're like, oh man, that one was tough.
What are they doing to us?
What's that, Donnie?
Yeah, with each coaster that they make bigger and faster and crazier, they're like, what are they doing to us? What are they? What's next? They can't do anything more to our body.
Wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more. And Dave Chapman. All right, Dave, tell us about you a little bit.
Oh gosh, well, I operate Amusement Park Portal on Facebook and YouTube, and I'll tell you, I've grown up going to Cedar Point my entire life. I've worked there for a couple seasons as well. Back in the day, I met my wife there. We worked together. Awesome. Got married a couple years after. I've operated Disaster Transport in the past, Mean Streak, Skyride, Corkscrew. I mean, you name it, I probably operated it.
I thought you looked familiar.
No, you worked there too, then, huh?
No, I just rode those things.
Oh, okay, yeah, you probably did meet me at one time, then, yeah. But I've grown up going there my entire life. It's just a special place, you know. As a kid, that was my first big ride, you know. It was at Cedar Point, and I look forward every year to see what's new and to visit with my family now.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Appreciate having you. Let's talk Winter Chill Out to start. Went down last night, and I think the only one on the panel that went this year was Becky. Becky, give us a little overview of how Winter Chill Out was yesterday.
Cold.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It was great. We went last year. We went this year. It was just so neat to see the things that you don't normally get to see, you know, and just experience some of the things and get some of that information. I mean, what exactly do you want to know? Any questions?
Was there any news breaking yesterday that you're like, oh, that's something that not everyone knows yet? Because sometimes they tend to break some news at Winter Chill Out.
Yeah, you know, I think this is going to be that year where there's not going to be anything like earth-shattering. They did mention that, and Molly brought that up yesterday, that the town hall is not going to be open this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Molly, why don't you tell us about that? So you have some of the headlines that were made yesterday from.
Actually, I don't think I brought it up. I think David brought it up. But yeah, town hall is not opening this year due to COVID restrictions and not being able to have it funded, right? If I'm corrected.
Yeah, what I hear, it just wasn't in the budget due to the pandemic, and that they had to put some things on the back burner, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
But it's been like that since 2020 when they announced it that it was going to stay like that. So it's been like that for a while now.
David, are you hearing? Because I mean, you got your pulse to this. Have you heard anything else that came out of there that surprised people or excited people?
No, it's been a pretty quiet winter chill out this year as far as news goes. Not a whole lot. They really didn't make any major announcements. I did find it kind of cool that they raffled off one of the antique cars, though.
I know.
Yeah, I saw that.
No engine in it.
Yeah, no engine in it.
What?
That's
I know. I would have wanted to drove it around my neighborhood, man.
Go ahead,
one of
Donnie.
those old-fashioned horns on it or something. But
heck yeah. Well, they took the engine out so you can put your own
it,
in.
though. No official winter chill out person won it. Employees won it.
really?
What were you gonna say, Donnie?
I was going to say there's no engine in it, so you can put in your own, like maybe a Hemi or a V8. You
Oh,
can race
God,
that thing.
come on.
Yeah, I asked the same question. I'm like, is it allowed? Are you allowed to, or is it able to equip to put your own engine in it? I got an I don't know.
Well, then you could sneak it back into the park, get onto the track, and just do loops around everybody.
I wonder if it's road legal.
Dave, that was my next question, Dave. I said, I wonder how much it would take to take it from where it's at, like how those cars in general. What would it take to take an antique car to get it street legal? Like I wonder how many little is it just building a new car, or are there just a few adjustments, or what would make those things street legal? Because they let golf street now. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Those engines were really little. They're like little lawnmower engines or something.
Yeah, they
It's
could actually. I've heard that they could go pretty fast without on the track. So
without the regulators on them and stuff.
Yeah, they got governors on them to slow them down.
governor.
Yeah, the governor.
It's the underbelly of the what do they call it? Black market, like kart racing that they do after hours at Cedar Point.
Yeah.
Well, interesting enough, there's a story. Kinzel, when he was younger, used to work there, and he got in trouble for taking one of them off the track and up and down the midway. He was riding on the midway. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I've heard the turnpike cars could actually go pretty fast too. So,
yeah.
I swear I dreamed about this when they were talking about pulling those antique cars. I was like, what if they put a track right down the midway, and then just like almost like you could go somewhere, but you're on a track, but like just up and down, kind of like the Skyway ride or whatever. Yeah. If you could actually just go on a little journey, even if it's a 15-minute ride, but now you have double the amount of cars, so you could just have them all out there. Just go take a 10 or 15-minute ride on the train and just kind of tool through. So because they only go a few miles an hour, so you're right. You just have like yellow painted lines on each side to how far they would go. So when your pedestrians are walking, they can't walk within those yellow lines, and then you could actually just like drive places. I think that would be so cool.
All right, I'll put in the request.
Sign me up. Yeah.
yeah. If anyone's got any pull, please put that in.
Yeah, sign me up on that one too. I'd rather drive than fly.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, right. So Nicole was asking about the chicken fingers. What's going on with the chicken fingers? I don't know. Does anyone know what that is?
Okay, yeah. Last week we talked about how every single restaurant has chicken fingers. So we asked Becky to see if she could find out like how many pounds of chicken fingers that they go through a day.
Oh my gosh.
Their answer was 17,000 pounds in a day. They were guesstimating, but they normally go by count. So, and Tony asked, he says, "Well, you want to tell us the count?" And Chef said, "Nope."
So that's a lot of chickens, you guys. I mean, it's a lot of chicken fingers. It's a lot of chickens. Okay.
I know. What do they do? What do they do with the rest of the parts? Got a bunch of 17,000 chicken carcasses laying around.
They throw it to the Seagulls. We all know that. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Where I come from in the country, we call that mechanically separated chicken.
I think they call them hot dogs.
In short term, we call that roadkill.
They grind it up for the hot dogs, Dave said.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's the new hot diggity dog place coming in. That's where all of our leftovers are going.
Secret recipe.
Oh, dear God.
Well, that's
Go ahead,
kind of a
Tony.
big deal because when we were talking about CP food a week or two ago,
Yep.
a lot of people said they missed Pink's. So the announcement of the Derby Dogs over by the where is it? Somewhere on the Midway. I think that's
Cedar Down.
The old Subway place.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's gonna be good. I love hot dogs, so a good hot dog would be great. But here's what Cedar Point needs to do: they need to be on the front end of this. They need to start serving pigeon fingers. Someone said, the seagull.
Oh my God! Come on.
You're so
That's not right.
It would fix the seagull problem. There, and you get them cheaper because you're just killing your own seagulls that are just out there and nuisancing everybody. Go ahead, Don.
Okay. So that brings me to a question. Raise your hand or speak up if you've ever had a seagull steal something from you. I've definitely had seagulls steal stuff.
I've also had them decorate my car a bunch of times too. So
Really,
I've got actually quite a few pictures of why you don't park underneath a light at Cedar Point.
Ooh.
Because
That's a
of
good tip. That's a good
the
CP tip.
by going there.
I've
That's
never heard
actually
that.
good.
That's
The
a
little
great
buggers
tip,
are annoying as
Molly.
heck too.
Yes.
Imagine being dive bombed by one of them. That's
Oh, the
worst.
blackbirds are the worst. Have you ever been?
Seagulls are really bad on that too.
Yeah, but the blackbirds during breeding season are nasty.
Yep.
Blackbirds, I
come get
really
ya.
haven't had too much trouble with. It's the seagulls that I've had more problems with. I've had to pick up a rock just to literally have it up, wanting to throw it at them because they're dive bombing me that bad.
The
Well, funny
employees
story.
have to wear the crates, like milk crates, on their head so they don't get dive bombed by the blackbirds, the
Well-
red tip blackbirds, because those
yeah.
are nasty.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know
they're
if you
vicious,
guys remember Whitewater Landing, though, the old water
Yeah.
ride that used to be where Maverick is. I worked at for a little while. We actually had to shut it down for a time because there's a blackbird built a nest up in one of the trees.
Oh my
It was dive bombing all the riders as they went by in the wall. So they actually had to shut the ride down for a few days to do whatever they did, to fix that problem.
Did you guys see the Valraven seagull last year where he built a nest on the right at the dive of Valraven?
Oh.
And he had an egg up there.
I think I did.
That
see a
was
picture of
interesting too.
I think I did see that. That was pretty cool
That's
though.
pretty sweet.
There's quite a few videos out there of the seagull and the nest.
I think
They
one of
couldn't
the
do
workers
anything
was
because
documenting.
technically the
What was that,
seagulls considered endangered.
What was that,
Yeah,
Dave?
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think
technically
one of the
Cedar Point couldn't
workers
even
was
run
actually documenting
Valraven until the egg hatched.
I've never had seagulls mess with me at Cedar Point. Just when they get close, the girls get scared, and they are, of course, they are all over. But I did it at SeaWorld once when I was a kid, and I still remember this. You could feed the dolphins, and you could go buy a thing of fish. So you'd have a little tray, one of those little boats of fish in there. And I walked from the little hut where you buy them to the dolphin tank, and in between, the seagulls will perch on top of the hut and just dive bomb you and take the fish right out of your hand, and scared the shit out of me. I screamed like a little girl and dropped my fish, and they were all over the place. And 5 seagulls, the thug and his thug buddies all came in and the fish, and they don't give you a refund either. Once you do it, you just got to buy more.
On the space bar, when I worked on the space bar, we would count the nest as we would go up and see how many were on each top of the building, and then watch the maintenance men clear them out, and then rewatch them get built every so many weeks. It was quite interesting.
You guys feel that because we've all got a seagull story, do we feel that the seagulls are just a charm of the park, or are they a nuisance? Do they affect?
Yeah.
They're
starting
too much of a problem.
Affect?
Yeah,
Are they starting? Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, I definitely think they're a charm. I wanted to add my seagull story. One opening weekend, I stayed at Breakers, and because the hotel was closed, one of the seagulls built a nest right next to the door to go into the hotel from the beach. So like all weekend we're going in and out of this door, and the seagulls sit in this nest like like, what are you guys doing here? It was just like so awkward because he's like, I'm committed now. I can't leave. I'm just here. It's like sitting right there. We have video of the girls like walking up to it. We're like, okay, guys, that's close enough. But it was just sitting right next to the door to go in because, like, the hotel had been closed.
That's
it was
funny.
pretty cool.
Dave, what were you going to say?
Oh, we used to nickname them Flying Rats when I was
There you go.
Yeah.
When the park has merchandise of Seagulls, it's definitely now a charm of the park.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch the CP official POV of Gatekeeper, it's filmed very early in the morning, which is perfect because that's the best time to ride Gatekeeper with the sun coming up over the beach. When the perspective comes out of the station and turns onto the go towards the hill, there's a seagull on the track and it just kind of lifts up and flies towards the beach. I'm like, that's just such a perfect POV of Cedar Point. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Didn't Fabio have an issue with the birds years ago?
yeah.
That wasn't Cedar Point, was it? When he got hit
No,
in the
that was
face?
at Busch Gardens in Virginia. Williamsburg.
But I think
Not-
there
not
is a
near
story
the body of
about
water, but-
Raptor when Raptor was first built that it hit a bird and just destroyed it.
Oh. See, probably somebody hunted the bird.
Yeah, it was. I heard that when I worked in '99, and one of the maintenance men told that of when Raptor was first built. It just absolutely destroyed one of the birds coming around. Had boom, just destroyed it. I'm like, all right then.
It's happened a few times I've heard
I do have a little bit of a seagull story of my own too.
Go ahead, Michael.
My first year, I was on the CP in LA. That was 2016. Now, I can't remember if I was on Myron or Judy. It was one of the two. I think it was Myron. We had this flock fly over the locomotive itself. And I don't know what the heck this was, but I swear to God, I think one of them was taking a crap as it was flying. And it sounded, when it hit the roof, it sounded like machine gun fire. It hit so rapidly, it sounded like a machine gun.
We're taking fire.
And then the next thing you know, I look on my shirt and I got seagull crap right here on my arm. Literally right there. And I'm having to go through the entire day smelling nothing but fish crap.
Right.
Ashley's been hit. My wife Ashley's been hit.
That was bad.
When I was on Schwabinchen, we had our T-shirts for the year for crew shirts, and it was the Brady Bunch theme, but it's switched the words up. And one of the sentence says, "When you get hit on by a bird." So you knew that Schwabinchen was often hit on by people got hit on by a bird because they just flew over and you got dumped.
Yeah.
My wife just reminded me that one of her daughters got pooped on at Cedar Point twice. And I'm like, that's at that point you make a wish. That's lucky.
Yeah, it's good luck. It's good luck. It is. It's supposed to be good luck.
Wait, when you get hit by the same seagull twice, that is so good luck.
Wow.
All right,
That's your seagull now.
Yeah. Exactly.
You are marked. Yeah.
You are marked. All right, let's talk Wicked Twister. So, pieces of the track now are available for $215. Who's gonna get a piece of the track? Donnie P, I know you are. Come on.
No, I told you I tried to get Vortex, and I failed. But no. I mean, no offense to the Twister lovers out there, but I never really liked that ride.
Huh.
And
You're blessed.
I just don't think. I don't know. I mean, it would be great for a collection.
I was gonna say, just have a piece of an actual ride. Wouldn't it be worth
If
it?
they have it,
I do. I
stand there.
have Mean Streak. I'm happy.
What do you have for Main Street?
What do you have?
What do I have? I have a piece of the wood.
A piece of the wood?
Sweet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I could top that.
Go ahead, Dick.
I used to work Mean Streak, and they were cleaning out the control room one day down below the ride, the computer room rather. And there was an old cassette down there that the actual cassette that they used in the Q line years ago, telling you the speed and the rules and whatnot. Pre-recorded thing, played in a loop over and over again. I actually have the tape. That
Awesome.
Cool.
yeah,
That's sweet.
Wow.
That's a sweet piece of
now
memorabilia.
technology
Right
has a
history
tape
right there.
player anymore, to play it, but
Yeah, that is super cool.
Right.
Does it play? Could you put it in a tape machine and play it? Like right
if
now?
I can find a tape machine, yeah.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
It's still workable. It's put together like you could still
Oh
use
yeah,
it.
it's solid.
Oh,
Yeah, it's one
that's
piece.
cool.
So.
What were you gonna say, Donnie?
That's awesome. Oh, I was still thinking about the Wicked Twister thing. I mean, I say no right now, but if they have it in the park and it's sitting right there staring at you, I don't know. It might be a little too tempting to pass up.
Well, at the moment, we don't even know how many's left after Winter Chill Out. So we'll have to wait and see how many's left and where they're going to put it on the online store or in the just wait until they're selling them in the park. So we'll have to wait and see.
Usually with Cedar Point, they like to number like one of however many, you know, like 100.
They did. There's only 1,000 of them, and the one he put online was like 500 of 1,000.
Oh,
so they're marked.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for someone to put a piece of Vortex up online.
You can find them. But yesterday, even Wicked Twister was going for over $600 yesterday. So on eBay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised then, again, we talked about this, one of 1,000. So why not make it one of 10,000? And I mean, it's just money. And we talk about they use extra money. If 1,000 makes them money and they're happy with that, why not make 10,000? Take those pieces that they threw away and just cut it up into 9,000 more pieces. That's at $215. That's another 9,000 pieces. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
The eternal stupidity of Cedar Point.
Yeah.
Does anybody know how many pieces of Vortex went out?
I don't know.
No.
I seem to remember they were numbered, but I don't remember the exact number.
I don't either.
Oh wow. All right. Well, I do want to talk about the track was $215. Donnie, how much did you pay for your brick?
Oh man,
100.
A couple years.
Wasn't it the 100?
I think it was like 135 total because I got a mini brick too. Like there's a little mini one that you have at your house.
That's cool.
So yeah, I think it was like
I think I paid the same amount Donnie did because I put one in memory of my adopted mother who passed from breast cancer. Cedar Point was her second home park. She loved that place.
Yeah.
No, there's Molly's brick.
Yeah. And the one that I have for the mini one went to my adopted brother, Bill. Instead of me keeping it, it went to him.
Awesome.
They really, if you got a picture, you could get a picture, you could save so much in them. They weren't really that expensive. I think, aren't they still doing them? Aren't you allowed to still buy them?
I think some are still being done.
Yeah, I think you can still buy them.
Left in the legacy walk for people to put bricks in.
Go ahead, Dave. What were you going to say?
I said I think they are still selling them, and the funny thing about it too, I know a lot of other parks are now copying that same idea and selling legacy bricks as well. I know Indiana Beach is doing it. I think Martin's Fantasy Island or Niagara, whatever they're calling it now, is doing it, which is a great idea. I think it's pretty cool.
Let me ask you a question, Dave, because you said you've gone to almost every amusement park in the entire country.
Yes.
Before we get to that, anyone else want to jump in? What is an amusement park you haven't been to, whether it's Cedar Fair or not, that you would if you could go, and it was paid for, or whatever? Where's the one place that you would go that you haven't been, Donnie?
I have one, Silver Dollar City.
What is that?
It's in Missouri. It's like in the woods. It's just this beautiful. I just looked at it on YouTube. It's just this beautiful park. It looks like the whole park is like a frontier town type park.
Isn't it part of Hershton? Yeah, it's like a sister park to Dollywood.
Mm-hmm. Oh. There's a lot of similarities between Dollywood and Silver Dollar.
What's
City.
that, Dave?
There's a lot of similarities between the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
and I think they also own Kentucky Kingdom. Am I right, David?
Yeah, they just purchased Kentucky Kingdom last year, and they also run Wild Adventures down in Valdosta, Georgia, as well.
All right. Cool. So, all right. Who else? Who else wants to talk about a park that they want to go to? For me, it's Busch Gardens. Number one, I just love to be in Florida, in Tampa, and I've never been there. So I'd like to try. I'd like to check out Busch Gardens.
Well, you know, Andrew, I'm actually going there in a few weeks. We just booked.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I've been there a bunch of times, and I want to go down and check out Iron Gwazi. I hear a lot of good things about it. So,
how often?
I want to take off and go to the Netherlands.
Netherlands? Why?
Yeah, there's quite a few good parks in the Netherlands that I want to check out. Plus, I want to visit my sister, so I want to go to the Netherlands.
Oh, I didn't know there were good parks there. So Dave, how often do you go to parks?
oh, I'm constantly going to parks. I mean,
Really?
during the summer, I live in Michigan, so we're kind of seasonal up here. So it's a
Right.
slow time right now, but like I said, I'm flying down to Florida to go to a park this time. And we plan on doing a lot of traveling this year too. We did last year, and we're going to up it this year. We got kind of held back because of the pandemic and that. And but yeah, so we're going to spend 3 days at Busch Gardens actually. Looking forward to that. It's a beautiful park. The
So do
food is
you
just awesome.
Do you take trips like I'm going to go to Busch Gardens and then come home, then I'm going to go here and go home? Or do you like go on the road? We go like Busch Gardens to blah, 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 to blah, 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 and be gone for like 2 weeks?
Both. I've gone on weekend trips. I flew down to Texas last year to go to Six Flags for a couple days, come back home. I've gone on road trips where it's lasted 2 weeks. I went on an East Coast trip a few years ago. We did, I think, 15 parks or something like that in 2 weeks. It was insane.
Awesome.
What was I tired?
Is there a park that you haven't gone to that you want to go to that you need to get on your list?
You know, in the States, there's only a couple more left on my list. A few out west I haven't been to, but a few of the smaller mom and pop parks I'm trying to get to. But overseas, Alton Towers has always been intriguing to me. With the Nemesis coaster in that, it looks really cool. I'd like to get out there and check it out.
I got a buddy that's been
Anybody else have? Oh, really?
I got two.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
One for me is I'd rather go to Texas to Slaughter Park because I am a water park junkie. I love water parks. But my wife and I have both decided that the one we really want to do is Universal in Orlando.
Beautiful.
So good.
She wants to
So
do
good.
she wants to do the Velociter. Me, I'm not that kind of guy.
It's a great coaster.
I'd rather just go and just enjoy the park itself, but I can't stand riding coasters.
I want me some butterbeer.
Well, you know, that's the good thing about Universals. There's really not a lot of coasters there. I mean, you might have one or two in each of the parks because they have the two parks there. It's a lot of like motion-based rides, shows, you know, meet and greets, that type of deal.
That's what I'd love to do.
The coasters, it's a great park to visit. Yeah.
Well, and the thing too is that it seems like I don't know if they're doing good on marketing, but it seems like they've upped their game over the last couple of years. I see a lot of Universal.
Sure.
I see a lot of commercials and the stuff highlighting does look good. Now I'm an old school guy. I like Universal California, which I've been several times. Just the movie experiences and the things that have been filmed there, and just being in that presence to me is I love it every time I go. It's not really about, I don't even think they have a coasters unless they built something. I haven't been there in a while, but it's just being out there and being part of the experience is amazing for me. Go ahead, Donnie.
So we took a tour at Universal Orlando last December, and I didn't know this, but they've actually filmed some stuff there. We were in this hallway, and they had all these pictures of scenes of movies, of TV shows, stuff like that they've actually shot there on site. I was like, wow, I had no idea. Like they have there's a backlight there too that you can kind of see from the park that they have some indoor studio type equipment too. So
that's where the old Nickelodeon studios was there too. The buildings still exist, they just don't film there no more. Yeah.
Awesome.
Here's the thing that I've known since I was a kid. I've kept this fact in my head. So when I was at Universal, they have the old Western, the Western like set still up, you know, from old school Westerns like John Wayne and those Westerns. Well, I guess that the actors back then, the lead actors, a lot of them were very short. So the doors are super short on them, so that in the movies they look like these tall, tough guys, but really they're just itty tiny people.
That's my house.
Yeah,
my house. I want to be a superhero when I walk into the house.
That's why I always go to the short urinal in the restroom. It makes me feel tall.
The little kitty
God.
girl. Look how big my Winky is.
Oh my God! Come on.
At least I don't have to stand on my toes.
Oh my God! All right,
Really, Donnie?
let's talk. Let's get back to food. We love talking about food on the show. It always ends up coming back to food. Big news: the farmhouse.
Oh yeah, Becky, did you see the farmhouse? Could you see it?
You know, very quickly, because we were in the back of the park and they didn't have any restrooms back there, and it was like nature called and I had to go, and we had to get all the way to the front. So it was just a hi, bye kind of a thing. But they're making progress. We did hear it's going to be a double queue line for it. So it is going to be grab your food and go sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of like Backbeak is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kings Island has the barbecue. I think I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Barbecue restaurant. It's like this is like a cookie cutter of that.
Okay.
Yeah, but so is Backbeak. Backbeak's the same way. It's a double line. But so is the sweet restaurant. Why can I not think of the name? The new
Confections.
restaurant, huh?
Confection.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's a double
something
line
confections.
as well up front. So they're all the same cookie cutter restaurants.
Yeah.
So is the Italian. What is the Italian one? I can't think of
Hugo's.
Hugo's.
I think that they probably seems like they're all going to that, almost like that's been the best success for them. Is to do those double queue lines, walk through, get your food, and sit down. So I think we're going to be seeing more of that as well as we
Well, the double queue lines are awesome if you can staff them.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you go in there, only one side's open because they don't.
Exactly.
So.
Or
That's the problem.
Or you get, I've gotten lucky a couple times where you're at the back of the line and then they open the second one. And you're like, yes, here I go, suckers.
Yeah.
It's the little things. It's the little
Right.
things.
It's the little things.
Right.
Yeah, we
It's like one of those Monopoly pieces that you don't have, and when you walk in, you're like, "Oh my gosh, it's staffed! Let's go, hurry!" So,
Oh yeah.
I found the race car underneath the couch. Let's play Monopoly now.
yeah, and you hurry up and play it so you can get through the line factor. Yeah, it's nice to have.
Yeah, no, it is. All right, so we talked a little bit about it. Donnie brought it up again. Derby Dogs, which is going in the old subway right next to the merry-go-round
Cedar
there.
Downs.
Thank you, Cedar Downs. So obviously the Derby theme makes sense. But can it possibly be as good as Pink's? Pink's hot dogs are legendary.
No.
Dave's like, no.
No way.
Not
Pink
even
sucked
close.
so bad. I hated Pinks.
What?
I liked Pink's. It
I
was
did
good. It was
I liked
something different.
Well, for me too, I don't know if I liked it more because growing up in LA, if it was a nostalgia thing for me, but I liked Pink's. Yeah, I did too. No, how come you didn't like it, Michael?
Me at Pink's, I really didn't get to because all the times I was at the park, I never went. I just fly right by it because I was going towards someplace else. It's just like, how much longer is this going to be here? And then they turn around and put the Mac Shack in there. I'm like, well, dang it, I should have went when I had the chance.
Yeah, I only really went to Pink a couple times. I liked it, but my oldest daughter, that was like her spot. Like she was there. She went right to Pink's every time because she had the food pass for like the last 4 years. She'd go right to Pink's.
Okay, so David, I know that we got you here, and we want to start a new segment where you highlight one new coaster each week. Do you have a coaster for us?
Well, I thought we'd start at Cedar Point, right?
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah, I figured we'd start there. Well, I'll start with disaster transport because I used to work on disaster transport. So, yeah.
All right.
Many of you know it originally opened in 1985 as Avalanche Run, which was an outdoor bobsled coaster right on the beach there. There were some rumors as to why it was enclosed. You know, the sand was blowing into the trough, and Mrs. Kinzel, Dick Kinzel's wife, didn't like the noise, was the other rumor too. So they enclosed it. But it was a very unique ride, indoor bobsled coaster. It closed in 2012, I think it was 2012. And that was probably one of my best memories of working at the park, just because it was a lot of fun. We got to walk the whole trough every night. Pick up loose change and Anything
like walking on it?
Yeah, on the track. We actually had to walk
wow.
it and pick up everything. That's how I got our laundry money for the summer.
Oh, nice.
We're supposed to turn it in, but we,
right. I get it.
the laundromat. But yeah, it was a lot of fun walking that up the steep inclines and declines, through the track, and just really neat walking through there at night.
Dave, a side note, I thought I was the only criminal on the show. You've a couple things here: larceny of a tape, larceny of some food. I mean,
come on.
Thank you.
Well, the tape was given to me by a maintenance guy because he was just going to throw it away.
Sure,
so,
wait, now you're naming your accomplice. No, I'm just kidding. I absolutely loved Disaster Transport. It was one of those rides that, like, it's just like, it was just so cool. And in the summertime, it was cool too, because they had the AC in there. So it was a really nice break. And it's, yeah. But it's one of those things where Gatekeeper is so beautiful and so amazing that it sucks that we lost Disaster Transport for it. But it's like, I mean,
it was such a unique ride. I mean, there was nothing else in the world like it. An indoor bobsled coaster. I mean, we only have a few outdoor bobsled coasters left in the world. I know Six Flags over Texas and the Great Escape in New York has one, but beyond that, that's that type of bobsled coaster. That's about it.
It's a real shame. I love the segment. So Disaster Transport, that's your coaster of the week. I liked it, Dave. I like that segment. It takes us back too. And I love whether they're true or not. I love the rumors, whether she didn't like the loud noise or if the stand was blowing into it. It doesn't matter. I just think the stories. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah. Well, Andrew also, those are just the rumors. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
So, Andrew, I don't even think Andrew, did you ever ride Disaster Transport, by the way, Andrew?
No.
So,
I'm in the same boat he is.
What is wrong with you guys?
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Well, the reason I asked is because towards the end of its life, like the second half of its life, the queue got less and less. What would you say, like attention? But when it first opened, the queue was up there with like a Universal Studios or Disney type queue. Like every there was different rooms. Each room had a theme. There was some animatronics in there. There was this one like a service bay where one of the carts was up, lifted in the air, and there was like actual robots like moving, like they were fixing it, and there were sparks flying out. There was an actual. Does anyone remember the robot's name? There was a robot that
Dave, named after me. Yeah.
Holy cow!
He's Gatekeeper right now.
What's that, Molly? Robot back. He's in the Gatekeeper gift shop.
He's in the Gatekeeper gift shop right now. Dave is in the Gatekeeper gift shop. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And the other robot, what was the other Bebop or Bebop Boop or whatever his name is, the round one?
R2D2 looking one, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the maintenance shop if you look for him.
Mm-hmm. That makes an appearance every once in a while,
Yeah, he appears every once in a while too.
It brings us to a topic we kind of talked about it in the group chat that we're all in, and it's is Cedar Point, is it, do we like the hometown feel to
going?
Yeah, or no, it's just more the hometown feel. It's a small, like it has a small town, small town feel to it. Does it stack up to the other parks? How does it stack up to the other parks? I guess Dave, a good place to start on that.
A few years ago, I would have said yes. It has a great hometown feel, and it always has for me for, growing up there, going there and whatnot. But it seems like recently it's getting a little corporate. I got to be honest. Look at the new sign they have out front. I mean, for example, it looks like you're entering an industrial complex. I mean, it used to have a cool feeling to it. You knew you were entering Cedar Point. It was a really cool looking sign and whatnot. Now it's just Cedar Point, and a lot of the new additions, it's just concrete and steel. There's not as many trees as there used to be, those type of deals. I mean, not to say it's not fun to go. I still love going. It's a great park, one of the best ones in the world. But it is starting to lose a little bit of that Cedar Point charm, at least for me.
Yeah. Anyone else want to jump in on that?
I would have to agree. I think the new entrances up at the front has changed a lot of it, especially once you turn off of Cleveland onto Cedar Point Drive. All those have changed the park a lot. I think once you come up to the new parking structures and the gatekeeper has changed it. All the new entrances on each side of the park, losing the tunnel had a lot to do with it. The marina had a lot to do with it. All those had a lot to change the park feelings. Don't get me wrong, they look great.
Yeah.
But it changed the feeling of the park. It kind of like melted my heart a little bit. But I'm like, wow, this looks great. But I'm like, oh, wow.
I've been to every Cedar Fair park -1, California's Great America, which was closed last time I was out that way. And a lot of similarities between the parks. People complain about Six Flags like that a lot. Oh, they got this and this is all the same. Well, Cedar Point's kind of like that too. If you've been to all the parks, it's a lot of like the cutout characters for Snoopy and that. It's all the same in all the parks.
Well, then you have to wonder if they're going to like they're going to that. Like if you go to McDonald's, I go to McDonald's around the corner. I go to McDonald's in California. They're all going to be the same. I wonder if that's what they're going for, and or if it's just happening naturally. Go ahead, Donnie.
I would say they're trying to bring some I don't know, synergy with the parks, but they also do kind of respect each park's history, each park's background. I think the last couple of years with the 150th, with all of the historical stuff, bringing back a lot of the T-shirts, bringing back the sippy cups, I do think they're aware of the fact of it's looking corporate, and I think that those things are kind of an effort to hold on to that. But I did want to kind of add that when I was younger, like in the 80s, I mean, from the 80s to like right now, as far as the cleanliness of the park, it's like night and day. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, like when in the it just smelled like garbage in the 80s, and it wasn't like we weren't mad about it. It was just the Cedar Point smell. It was like you'd be like if you were in Toledo and you walk by a hot dumpster in the summer, you're like, oh, I miss Cedar Point. We should go because like it would remind you of it. But so now it's like night and day. It's like so much cleaner. I mean, even I know we were talking online about the restrooms, but the restrooms are like up front are still a little rough. But like even like the restrooms in most of the park, like of course, depending on staffing as well. But they're just so much more attention to the little details.
Now, do you think the restroom problem is a staffing issue, or is it just the restaurant or restrooms?
Oh, it's a timing.
Be done. I mean,
well. We were kind of talking about that on the thread. Molly mentioned that they do have some plans down the line to redo them, but as far as just the condition of them, as far as how clean they are, most of the time when I'm in the back half of the park, they're looking pretty good. But up front, it's just so hard to stay on top because water gets everywhere.
Right. So many people using them constantly.
Yeah,
so
the front of the park is more used. The middle of the park maybe is not as used.
Yeah.
The back of the park may be different because of the water rides. It depends on where you're at and depends on the staffing. And I can't agree more on that. But by the end of Halloween weekends, when I walked into Camp Snoopy family bathrooms, the walls were falling out, and I don't know if that was because some hoodlums walked in there and destroyed the bathrooms, or the bathroom walls were just falling apart. I was like, oh.
How about 5 or 6 years ago, they just remodeled some of the bathrooms. They got the blue walls and whatever in there, but they just did that not too long ago.
Yeah, but is that really remodeling, or is that making it a cookover or like a slam something up there to make it look better?
A Band-Aid up.
Yeah, exactly. A Band-Aid to make it look better.
I think the best restrooms are the Frontier Town by Skyhawk and then the Frontier Town by the First Aid Station.
Have you guys ever been out on the islands?
No.
Oh,
the individuals.
Yeah, the individuals out on the island. Now those are smoking hot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
What island?
No, like
like
you, like if you want some good bathrooms to have some good pooping in, go to the island. Because let me tell you,
Well, the individual bungalows.
Yes, and they're air conditioned.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Molly, dropping some tips on us.
Oh, sorry. I know the bathrooms, and I know the bathrooms quite well, but let me tell you, those are smoking out there.
What's the name of the island again? It's like the
Frontier Island, or
what is it
called?
Forbidden Frontier, or something like that.
Forbidden Frontier. Yeah. And they've got some. That Forbidden Frontier is hot to try when you've got some kids and they need some time to run around and you need some relaxation, and they got some bathrooms out there.
I need to get out. The last couple of years I've been saying, isn't that kind of where the dinosaurs were for a couple seasons?
Yeah.
I have to get out to Forbidden Frontier. I've never been out there, and we never.
Oh wow! With all your kids, you can make it out there because let me tell you, they've got good food. They've got the why can I not think of it? The netting out there for your kids to run around in.
And everyone's in costume. You'd love it, Andrew. Everyone, even like at the food stands, everyone is in character.
Yeah. I have to check it out. That's cool.
It's nice.
Before we get to Molly's merch and wrap things up for the week, I do want to get to this more on the Top Thrill Dragster state report that came out. I started looking at just a couple of the bullet point details. It's a little disturbing, I think, that of some of the things that they found. And am I just overreacting, or is it like multiple loose bolts in the fixed brake fins and brake fin, suspected damage to the brake assembly, multiple bolts found to be of different or improper grade, several mechanical issues, including missing bolts, missing brackets. That really points right to the maintenance department, and is that a bit disturbing? That you haven't thrown? Oh, hey Jim, just throw that other bolt in there, no big deal. Or bolts falling out and stuff. It just that's a little more disturbing than I thought it was going to be. I thought they stayed on top of it, pretty well, and this was just a freak accident. But then I start seeing some of those bullet points. I'm like, oh wow. Thoughts, Donnie? Go ahead.
Well, the brake fins, that's a different part of the ride. That's the part of the ride that's like fixed on the track. That's unrelated to the accident, but yes, it's still very brings attention to some certain things. They did find all those things were not related to the accident.
It was an inspection afterwards, but
so the piece that flew off was on the train. It was like a marker. It was like a giant piece of metal that trips off sensors, but still, yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely concerning. I don't know.
And I think I wonder, and I'm gonna let everyone jump in because I know Dave, you're bopping your head. I wonder if it's natural with anything. If you're doing a routine inspection every day and you do it 1,000 days and nothing happens, then you start just missing stuff. And that's just natural. Is that some of that is natural human error? But when you're talking about the coasters, we can't really have a whole lot of that. We shouldn't have a whole lot of that.
Right.
No, not at all. Everything needs to be checked daily. I mean, when people's lives are in your hands,
Yeah.
Some of the things, they're very concerning. Other things like a loose bolt, that happens throughout the day. A lot of coasters, you'll go and you'll notice there's paint marks on some of the bolts, like a little line with a paint marker going through, and that, it should line up. If that bolt starts to loosen, that line is not going to line up.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, that's why they put those paint marks on there. So they don't have to go through and manually check the torque on all the bolts. They can visually look and see, okay, that one's still lines up. Yeah.
Right. So that one needs tightening because it's off from the paint line.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, you can tell, but not every bolt has that on it. There are some bolts smaller bolts in that they have to check daily, to confirm they are at the proper tightness or torque. I don't know, all the story behind what loose bolts or, and all that, but I don't want to speculate.
Right. Go ahead, Donnie, and then Molly.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, the different grade of bolts or the different type? I mean, I know that the ride's been up for almost 20 years, so I guess you could say they maybe went to different bolts along the line, like when they're replacing things. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to wrap my brain around it all.
It sounds to me like maybe they have a bolt warehouse. And they're like, okay, well, I'm going to put this one in there because we don't have the original one. We'd have to buy it or whatever. But we have this one here, so we were just going to throw that one in there. Go ahead, Dave. You know more?
Yeah, things like that have to be approved by the manufacturer before they can just throw any bolt on there. They have to be approved by the manufacturer. Otherwise it voids any kind of warranties they have on the ride, and many other issues with that. But that's worth throwing out there too.
Molly, did you want to say anything on what I was saying? Just kind of some of those little jarring.
My personal thought is they knew this could happen. Something came up earlier in 2017, and they just went, "Oh, it will be all fine and no big deal." And then they moved it along, and so.
Well, question is it really Cedar Point's fault? I mean, they've worked with Inaman on several projects, and it seems like every Inaman project they've worked with, there's been some kind of issue.
Really?
Exactly.
Rapids, Maverick, there's been all kinds of issues with that manufacturer. So you got to kind of
why is it always Cedar Point that they have the problems?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, there's been other Inaman rides. I know off the top of my head, I just can't think of them right now that have had issues too. And I know that other park chains don't really like working with Inaman because of that.
And I mean, to be fair to Cedar Point, I'd still rather put their maintenance department up against Skeeter, who's with the traveling carnival. That's
any good poster person would, but I have a personal vendetta with Inaman. I just don't like them, and why is it always Inaman coasters for some odd reason?
Right.
Why is it always Inaman?
Yeah.
Why? I understand that, but Shoot the Rapids, Top Thrill Dragster. There was at the very beginning, there was many problems with Wicked Twister. They still had problems with Wicked Twister. Why is it always Inaman?
Hey, what if? Hey, let's start a conspiracy theory. What if the accident on Top Thrill Dragster played into the decision to take Wicked Twister down?
No, the reason Wicked Twister was taken down is because the limb launch motors on there have a certain life expectancy to them, and the life expectancy was up. They needed to replace them per manufacturer, and they're millions and millions of dollars each to replace them. And they weighed the options. They're like, it's not a very popular coaster. Do we want to spend $10 million putting in new motors, on a not so popular coaster? And the decision
I do want to
opening day of Wicked Twister and media day. Nobody hardly showed up. Just an FYI, I worked it. It was very, very not busy. Just an FYI.
I do have a side note though, and in the last 5 years or so, we decided to switch from going to Cherry Fest and Apple Fest and Butterfest and Nut Fest and whatever the fest we used to go to every weekend, and we switched to we'd rather be at Cedar Point every weekend. So we got those tickets instead of going to all these little festivals. And I'm happy with my decision after last season. I have a food truck, and I'm talking to this girl, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm working on the Tilt-A-Whirl," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." She's like, "I don't even know if I'm gonna get paid by these morons. They just said if anyone wants to come work it, go ahead." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So, you've never done it before? Nah. I'm like, "Did you have any training?" She's like, "They gave me 30 minutes. They said, here, did this. Here's the button, and we'll see you later." And I'm like, "You just ran the ride with 30 minutes of training?" She's like, "Yep, no problem." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I go to Cedar Point, because I'm cool on that."
My English report in 2000 was the big on what's better, a festival for carny rides or an amusement park rides and accidents. I will ever ride a festival ride in my life. I don't care what it is. I will not ride a festival ride. Anything you could take apart, put on the back of a truck,
Right?
and rebuild it for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I
get
will
out of
not ride it whatsoever. Nope. I will go to Cedar Point. I will pay the money to go to Cedar Point.
Yeah, I mean, they checked the bolts because they had to put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And the dude putting it up was in Swanton last week and hung over putting it up in Grand Rapids this week. Yeah, I'm cool on that.
Yeah. No, I ain't doing it.
Get out of here. All right, you guys.
No.
Well, it was a lot of fun. Dave, welcome aboard. We're glad that you that you decided to start joining us now. I'm super excited about that. Becky, did you have fun?
Oh yeah, of course. I got to be there with my family. Got to see those things you don't normally get to see.
I mean, did you have fun with us?
Oh God, no. Yes. Sorry.
You're welcome back anytime, Becky. Anytime, okay?
Thank you. All right, thank you.
All right, Becky. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Molly, Donnie P. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Who knows where, but all right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you later. There it is.
Thank you.
Yes, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
I'm a hippo.
Broadcast Hippo. Digital media. Come on!